In this video, I'll be demonstrating how you can use a de-esser on a heavily distorted electric guitar. One of the challenges or difficulties when mixing a heavily distorted electric guitar is sometimes it can sound a little bit harsh or brittle. This could be when the player slides his fingers across the strings, or maybe has some fret noise that comes into the performance, or even just certain notes that are harmonics that are a little bit unpleasant or a little bit too resonant. What you could do is try and use a conventional equalizer, find the parts in the performance that sound bad, maybe find those frequencies in specifically that sound bad, and reduce them by 3 dB or 6 dB. However, a conventional equalizer is going to pull those frequencies out across the entire performance. So if there are parts that don't sound bad, you're still going to be pulling out those frequencies across the entire thing, but you really just want to pull them out during the parts that sound harsh. This is where a de-esser comes into play. Conventionally, a de-esser is used for vocals. When a singer makes S sounds, the idea is that the compressor is going to reduce the volume of those S sounds, but let the rest of the performance go unprocessed. It's a perfect application in this situation with heavily distorted electric guitars because it basically acts as an adaptive equalizer, that if the performance gets a little bit too harsh, then the compressor is going to turn those harsh parts down. However, when it's not too harsh, it'll basically maintain the tone that's still there. So I'm going to bring up a compressor that I like to use in this application. It's the Wave C1. It's kind of an all-purpose compressor. I'll bypass it to begin with and play you back the guitar so you can hear how it sounds a little bit harsh. Right now it's set up and it's in the conventional compressor mode. So it's going to be compressing all the frequencies across the whole signal. It's going to be listening to the threshold. It's going to be listening to all the frequencies as well. So I bring the threshold down, turn the ratio up, acting like a normal compressor. But what you can do is use these different EQ modes, Sidechain, where you have the compressor listen to certain frequencies but still affect all the frequencies in there, or the split mode, more importantly, is the one I'm going to use here. What this does is just the frequencies that you select for the compressor, it's going to listen to, but then at the same time it's only going to process these frequencies that you select as well. So I'm going to switch over here to the band pass filter, and I'm going to use this in only these frequencies that I'm going to sweep through and find the ones that sound harsh, and then the compressor is only going to be acting on those harsh frequencies. Basically, when it gets too harsh, it's going to turn those frequencies down, but when it's not too harsh, it's just going to let them pass through. So I'll switch over and monitor the sidechain while I find the ones I don't like. Here's the cue. Now it's just a matter of playing around with the ratio. I like to use a fast attack, fast release, so it's pretty responsive. Then play around with the threshold and the ratio until you find something that's good. Again, you want it to be a subtle effect. You don't want it to be too much. But then you basically can use it kind of as an equalizer to pull down certain frequencies that sound bad and do it to certain amounts until you find basically a happy medium. This is a little bit too much. Might need some makeup gain. Here I'm pulling out a lot of the high frequencies. This is a little bit over dramatic, but I can show you how the effect works. And it's just a matter of picking the right threshold and ratio to go along with your guitar performance so that you reduce the parts that sound harsh. And that's all there really is to it.